to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And it's a Friday, time for Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary. Brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And now here are your hosts, Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
It's Friday.
It is Friday, and it's not snowing,
It's not.
and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing because I have to go to Kansas City after the show. So
You ought to have a pretty nice day to go. It's kind of still yet a little overcast, a little cloudy
bit.
here, but the sun will come out every little bit, and it's warming up nice. And
you
so
betcha,
be a beautiful day.
it will be a beautiful day. And I would imagine before the weekend's over, some people are going to be clicking them ACs on.
I bet they will.
I bet they will
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I actually broke down and had to turn mine on the other night. It
Oh,
was just too hot in the house and too humid, and
I've turned mine on several times over the past couple months. So
I just kept hanging in there, and I just went, okay, this is stupid. I can't sleep. It's too hot in here.
I sometimes turn the air conditioner on and the heat in the same day. Maybe heat in the morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
conditioner-
that
I've done that.
That is true. We work on them both in the same day.
Yeah.
So, but I'm ready for summer to come on, stay for a while.
well, let me tell you, this old fat boy can't stand being hot. And so the air conditioner comes on. That's one thing, I know we'll get to talking in our office, and Paul, our property manager, I'll hear him and Dan Clark, my boss, and Dan's the coldest natured man I ever met in my life.
Really?
And him and Paul will be talking, stuff about, they just think it's so crazy that people turns their air conditioner on, and everything. And I'll say, guys, I've had mine on for a month. They just think that's just plumb crazy. I'm like, I'm not going to be hot. I can't.
Well, if you're going to have that in your home, you might as well be comfortable.
Well,
That's
yeah.
the whole point in having it.
That's right.
So you need to be comfortable in your own home.
That's right.
So it's good we have that opportunity to do that.
It is nice. It's
I
nice.
think about growing up,
yeah.
I didn't have air conditioning, and I didn't even miss it.
I
I'd hate to live without it now, though.
think, I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have air conditioner in our cars or anything. And I remember when we got our first window unit. And, oh, man, we thought that was just
That was better than sliced bread.
Well, yeah, between that and the first color TV, my gosh. But people back then, if you never had it,
You didn't know any different.
You
Yeah.
didn't know any different.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
But now we're kind of spoiled. But I mean, it's one of the necessities of life. I mean,
It is today for
yeah.
a lot of folks, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
That's for sure.
Well, we got a special guest.
We
today.
do. We do. It has nothing to do with air conditioning, although
No.
I'm sure he probably has one.
Oh, I love it.
we have Brett with us in the office. Brett McGowan. He's with Renew Crew, which he was on the show before, but he was Wood Renew back
is
then.
correct.
But he has a new name and a new look and all kinds of fun, new, interesting things to talk about today.
Yeah, it's been very exciting going through a name change. It's been a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It's amazing just changing your name, how much stuff that affects in a business. It's crazy.
Oh, it has been.
It's crazy.
You have
It's
no
everything.
idea how much stuff your name is on until you have to start replacing all of it. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, hopefully it all works out in the end and it would be worth the name change. And
Oh, it's
So-
going to be wonderful. Yeah, people are asking me, why the name change, and no, I'm not getting sued. I don't know the IRS back taxes. I didn't.
that is one of the reasons people do that,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely, but no, we didn't sell anything. We didn't buy anything. It's still same Wood Renew, the same guys, same great products that we've always had. We're going through a name change because we're adding things. We're doing some new stuff that aren't wood, and so the Wood Renew name just didn't reflect all the things that we're involved in now.
So there you go.
Absolutely.
It's always neat when a company does something like that and then goes through the name change and all that to add more products and stuff for their clients, because if you're not in business and you don't realize that it is a very expensive thing to do, and it's like you said, it's a ton of work. It's just a ton of work. But that way it reflects more of what you do, gives people a better idea of kind of what's going on with your business, and
Well, we
all
hope
these
so.
ways you
That's
can
the
help
idea.
them. Yeah, that's why we wanted to have you back on, because I knew you're going through this name change, so we kind of give you a little time to get kind of all that kind of washed out and straightened up and whatever, and then have you back on and let people know that you're out there and what you do.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it seems like every 10 years we're reinventing ourselves a little bit. We started off as Woodbright back in 1993. About 10 years or so later, we started franchising, and as a result of that, we became Wood Renew, and now again, roughly 10 years later, we're offering new services for our customers. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but so we're just reinventing ourselves so that we can do more and better things for our customers.
And you know, most companies, if you're going to stay in business, I think you have to kind of reinvent yourself every so often just to keep up with what, you know, clients' needs change, their expectations change. Sometimes you have things like in our industry, you know, our industry changes a lot as far as the technology and stuff that has come into our industry. So that's just part of being in business, I think, anymore. It's hard to just completely stay the same. So
I couldn't
kudos to
agree more.
you for, you know, taking the step and all the sweat and all that to get it done.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, like I said, it's about the customers, and they've, you know, for years have been asking for some of these new services that we're doing now. We're still outdoor cleaning and protecting professionals, so we just expanded from the wood. Now we're offering those same types of services for all kinds of vinyl siding or steel siding. As anybody that lives in the Ozarks know, on the north side of your house, there's a nice coat of black mold growing there. So our customers have been asking us to solve that problem for them, and cleaning and sealing concrete patios, driveways, and pool patios, brick siding, cleaning and sealing, all those sorts of things people have been asking for, and now we're ready to help with that, help with those problems.
That is good to know, because for the longest time, I just thought about you guys, which you did for us last year. You came down and stained our decks and our outbuildings and all that kind of stuff, and they look amazing.
Thank you.
But that's typically when I thought of you guys. That was my mindset, was you did decks, and that's about
you were
all.
correct.
And that's about all, you know, that I would think about. So to change the name to add the new products is a great idea. And you know, before we get into talking about all the things he can do, we might want to give out some phone numbers,
I
because
think
we
that'd be
usually
great,
get ahead
yes.
of ourselves and give out
Yeah.
the phone numbers later.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
should do that ahead of the show.
That's true. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Or if you would like to send us a text message, you can do that at 417-838-3192, and we'll read your message on the air. And so it's free call from no matter where you are, so we'd love to hear from you.
That's right. If you have any questions about some of the new services they offer,
Yeah.
we have the expert here. He can give you some great advice and tips
right.
and answer your questions. So
You know, what I think's so neat is the fact that I go back to the beginning with Woodbright, because, I mean, I sold Stan probably his first 5-gallon bucket that he ever had, or that he ever did, for the first deck he ever did. And, I mean, that goes back several years, and we became good friends. We worked together for a while. We had the idea we were going to start doing cedar shake roofs, and that didn't go very well, because me and him both were afraid of heights, afraid to get up on those roofs. So,
probably not a good career choice then.
No, but I actually we worked together, and it's so cool to see the hard work and effort that's gone in to make this business what it is today. Because let me tell you, it's not something that was handed to him or you. I mean, you guys have worked hard at it and continued to improve on it over the years, just like you're doing now. And that makes me proud to say that I knew from the beginning, you know, you guys and Stan, and
You watched us grow up.
watched you grow up. That's exactly right.
See it all evolve.
Yep.
And that is a cool thing to do.
It is. You know, there's so many companies now that people don't really know the history, how it got started, and they think, well, you know, hey, somebody just handed this to them, or this, that, and the other. But, you know, at first, I remember this so well. Stan and I went out on a job, walked around the back of this house, and I'm not kidding you, this deck was just, I mean, black as the dirt, and these people were going to tear it down. When we left there, it looked brand new, and the people couldn't believe it, that deck was saved. And, you know, from that point on, you know, it wasn't like, well, we're just going out and just, you know, throwing sealer on there. Stan, in the beginning, researched these products, and he knew what worked best, and he knew how to do it, and he trained his people. And so, I mean, it wasn't just a fly-by-night company, and that's why Yins are still around today.
Oh, absolutely. Stan and Sonia developed actually the magic of Wood Renew and Renew Crew, in my opinion, is the cleaner that
Sure.
Stan had developed.
Yeah.
There was nothing on the market that really properly cleaned and prepped the wood, and if you don't clean and prep it properly, it doesn't make
Exactly.
any difference what you put
Yeah.
over the top of it. If you didn't prep it right, it's not going to look right. It's not going to
Exactly.
hold up. So
Right.
the cleaner that they developed, I think, is kind of the magic of our company, and one of the reasons why we're able to do things other people aren't able to do.
Sure. Well, it's amazing to see Yins grow like Yins have, and that makes me proud.
Feel like a proud papa there,
I feel
do
like
you?
a proud papa. That's right. No doubt. So.
So is now that you've added these new products and services, we'll talk about more about them a little bit later on. But still, you probably your biggest thing is still your wood products, your decking and that type of thing. Is that still your bread and butter of the company right now?
Oh, sure. You know, we're celebrating our 20th year this year, and we've been doing decks and fences, exterior wood that whole time. So that's still our base customer, and by far that's the biggest part. But we're trying through efforts like this to let people know about the other things we do, and maybe over time we can have these new services rival what we're doing with decks. But for right now, we're still your wood restoration expert.
Well, and they are, and they're very good at what they do. And I was real pleased with the decks and stuff you did for us. And I was real kind of worried about doing that because they were new. We put all new decking and stuff on, and so I was like, I wanted to make sure I had someone out there who actually knew what they were doing and didn't damage our new wood.
I think you were right
and
to be worried.
so I was a little concerned about that. And so after I met you and got to visit with you and stuff, I was just really happy. And then you also did one of our neighbors up there, and his deck was existing, and it looked old. And as a matter of fact, he was thinking that he might have to tear part of it off. But when you guys came up and you had to clean his all up and everything, and he came home and it was done, he was very excited and very impressed. And his looks brand new, just like ours does, and ours is brand new. And I thought, that's pretty cool.
That's one of the
pretty cool.
funnest things about this job is watching people's eyes when they come home and they see their transformed deck or fence, and it went from that old cruddy looking thing to something brand new. It's fun to watch the look on their faces. It
His
really is
deck
fun.
was really, and of course down there by the lake you have lots of moisture and stuff and all that kind of thing down there, and his was really gray, and it just looked like it had been there forever, and it really wasn't that old. It had just whoever put it up had never treated or anything. They just put it up and then never did anything with it, so it aged very quickly, and so that was kind of cool for me to see that too, because I thought, now if they make this look good, I'm impressed, and I was pretty impressed.
Well, Mother Nature can be tough on stuff.
Oh
so
man, yes she can. So
I was glad we were able to get to yours before Mother Nature had a chance to beat up
Yes.
on it too much. That's
Yeah.
really important. There's a line to walk with that, actually. A lot of people, will try to convince you to do it the day it's built. Other people are going to tell you to wait, a year or 2 years to let it age or cure before you do it. I don't know that I agree with that advice. At Renew Crew, we advise our customers to wait a minimum of 3 months before you treat it, because you do need to let that wood age and breathe. There's a lot of chemical in it from when they treat that lumber, and you've got to let that age. So we recommend you wait a minimum of 3 months, and then try not to let it go over 12.
I think we finished ours in May, and I think you guys came down in September.
Yeah.
So it was about 4 months.
Yeah,
So
we wanted to wait.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. So I'm real happy with that. And so some of the new things that you've added, this came about because some of your customers asked you if you
absolutely.
did it, or you had lots of requests for it and thought, maybe this is something we need to look into. Is that how that happened, or how did you guys decide to expand these other services?
You're exactly right. As our customers were asking for these things. I mean, over the years, hey, while you're here doing my deck, will you wash my setting? Hey, while you're here, my pool's got mold and mildew all over the concrete around the pool. My kids don't want to walk across it. And they were asking for those things. And while we stood there with a power washer, we weren't professionals at that yet. We hadn't researched it. We hadn't done our due diligence, and we weren't going to start doing something. Just because you're standing there with a power washer doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
Right.
And there's some people who will take your money and claim that they know what they're doing just because they own a power washer.
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that.
Sure.
So we did our due diligence. We did the research. We came up with products just like Stan did 20 years ago with the cleaners and the sealers that we use. We did our diligence, did our research, and created a line of products that actually do what they're supposed to do without damaging the environment, without damaging the surface we're working on. So now we can look people in the eye and say, yeah, we can do that for you, and we're going to do it right.
So on your concrete, when you're coming out and you're like cleaning concrete for someone, or whether it's a patio or a pool side area, whatever, I would imagine that's because there's different kinds. There's like aggregate stuff, and there's different kinds of concrete things. I mean, we had a concrete patio in Nixa that was kind of rough, had some rock and stuff in it, wasn't smooth. So there's all different kinds of ways you can finish out concrete. But does that matter how you clean it, how it's finished out, or do you just clean them all the same?
It can vary for some of the interior concretes that we don't do. I mean, we're an exterior company, but for aggregate concrete, for broom finish concrete, which you'll find around a pool or in your driveway or a sidewalk, or even a trowel finish concrete, which is more like what you would find in somebody's garage floor, a smooth trowel finish. The cleaner that we can use for those is the same.
Okay.
It's a masonry cleaner, so we can use it for concrete. Actually, we can use it for brick, and do those sorts of things with that base cleaner. Now, how you go about sealing or treating those is going to vary quite a bit depending on what the customer wants as far as appearance or longevity or where it's being used. Certain kinds of finishes, for example, around a pool, you want to try to avoid. It can make it slippery. So you have to be a little pickier about the sealers that you use and where you use them.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And, talking about cleaners, this is going to siding. One common mistake that people make is they think, well, my siding's got a little mildew on it. I'll just use some bleaching water and that's going to clean it. You hear that all the time. That's not true.
It isn't true. It isn't true. And it makes sense when you think about it. You don't wash your laundry with bleach. Because
exactly.
it doesn't clean anything. Now, I can't argue that bleach will kill mold and mildew, but that doesn't mean you washed it away from your house.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you can do what you want at your house, but my advice would be to go and use a commercially available non-chlorinated bleach cleaner to clean your house. It's environmentally safe.
Right.
It's going to be a better cleaner, and it will also kill the mold and mildew without, killing your pets or your flowers or getting into somebody's groundwater. So,
yep, exactly. And, we hear that all the time. Yeah, I'll just use a little bleach water. I'll take care of it. But like you say, it doesn't clean it, and it's not good for the environment either.
It isn't. So that's good advice. I'm glad you brought that up.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
That's true.
You're right.
Because bleach will bleach it out, and then you don't see it.
You don't see it.
So you think it's gone, but that's not necessarily the case.
That's true.
You're exactly right. You do need to. It's a combination of a chemical cleaner to kill it, loosen it, and then you need some sort of agitation. Whether you're up there scrubbing it with a brush or using a power washer, you need some sort of agitation to get it off of there.
Yeah. And, nowadays we are more conscious of what goes in the ground. We're more environmentally friendly. And so I think it's very important to try to find the right products to use. And because you just always can't take and just make your own mixture and think it's going to be good for everybody.
No, and back several years ago, before I knew about all this environmental stuff and all that, we bought a house one time that the shower was just ridiculously dirty. And I'm not a chemist or a scientist, and there's a reason for that, because I mixed ammonia and bleach.
Oh, boy, yes.
And I about killed me.
Yeah.
And I cleaned that shower. I was in there for a few hours because it was a walk-in shower, and by the time I got done, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
You could have.
I know. I found that out later. I got really, really sick.
Yeah.
And my lungs hurt, and it was like, I didn't know what happened, And then I was talking to someone, where I was working or something, and they said, "You did what?" I said, "Well, I wanted to get it clean." They went, "Oh my goodness!" So yeah, I about killed myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't.
That's true.
And don't be mixing stuff unless you know what it's going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a bad deal.
That's true. Well, we got a caller holding on. Let's talk to Al here in Springfield. Go ahead, Al.
I have a mildew problem in my driveway and sidewalk. I live right here in Springfield, over in the southeast section. I have power washed the thing several times with nothing but clear water, but I just heard you mention something that you use a solution.
Correct.
I would like for you to stop by and take a look at my situation so we can talk about what you could do here, what you would recommend.
Well, sure, we'd be happy to do that.
What's your phone number so I can...
Sure. You can reach us at 865-9663. That's 865-WOOD.
Okay. Are you here in Springfield, or are you in Ozark, or where?
Well, our offices are physically located here in Springfield, but we cover 7 counties from here.
Oh, sure. Yes, I would like for you to take a look at this, and it just drives us up the wall. We clean it, and it comes right back again.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you were great to wash it with water. At least that's environmentally friendly. The problem is concrete's very porous, and so you
Right.
washed away the mold and mildew that was on the surface, but it's actually down deep in the pores of that concrete. We need to
Right.
use a cleaner that can soak down in there and get after the mold and mildew that's hiding from you down below.
So that's what you're using, and then do you recommend a sealer on top of that, or would you not?
Absolutely. A sealer is going to help provide not only just stain resistance, but it helps make it easier for you to clean. So in the future, I can't keep this pollen from falling on your driveway, for example. So by putting a sealer on there, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to clean that driveway, keep stains like oil or transmission fluid from staining it, and by making it water resistant, it's going to make it harder for that mold and mildew to take foothold on your driveway and sidewalk again.
Right, and it's not slippery.
Exactly. We would want to use one of our penetrating sealers that won't make it slippery.
Okay, I'll give your office a call, and we'll get something set up, because I need some help.
Well, thank you for calling, sir. I appreciate that.
You bet. I listen to the program every week, and that caught my ear. I was doing something else, so I had to quickly get over here and hunt the number for the station. But I'm glad I got through to you.
Oh, thank you, Al. We appreciate that call.
Have a nice day.
You
too.
too.
Thank you. That's what we're all about right here, helping
We are.
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I'm sure that is frustrating to have to keep washing it over and over and over, and it keeps coming back. That's
yeah.
annoying. So if there's, they can give you guys a call and you go out there and take care of that. Just think of what they can do with all that spare time.
Absolutely. Something a lot more fun
A
than
lot
washing
more
your
fun
driveway.
than washing the driveway and the sidewalk.
Yep. Yep.
So
For sure. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Or if you want to send us a text, 417-838-3192. And love to hear from you.
right now, though, we're going to take a break and stay with us, though. We will be back.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A conviction has been handed down to a Springfield man for an incident in 2011 at a Springfield hotel. 37-year-old James Scott assaulted his girlfriend at the hotel and then attacked officers who came to arrest him. Scott has a history of criminal convictions going back to 15 years. Sentencing is set for July. A man charged in the deaths of a Willard couple has pleaded guilty. 26-year-old Philip Friend is one of 5 people charged in the deaths of Russell and Becky Porter. He'd been charged with first-degree murder but was allowed to plead guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder. Friend's father, Tony, is also charged, along with Russell Porter's uncle, Robert Campbell, Wendy Friend, and Dusty Hicks. And a record 725 students have graduated from Ozarks Technical Community College. Ceremonies for the spring class of 2013 were held at JQH Arena and featured Senator Roy Blunt. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers. Join KTXR for another exciting trip to Branson to see the Jim Stafford Show Sunday, May 26th. We'll meet at 3 p.m. in the Kmart parking lot at the corner of Kearney and Glenstone. We'll have dinner at Starvin' Marvin's Restaurant, and after dinner, it's on to see the Jim Stafford Show. Total cost for the trip is just $39 per person. That includes bus transportation, dinner, and the show. Make your reservation today. Call 862-3751 during business hours. That's 862-3751.
In times of joy, in moments of grief, we are there. When the world looks for truth, broadcasters come through, even when all else fails. Today, with more ways than ever to experience the moments that transform our lives, Americans still choose broadcast radio and television more than all other media combined. And our web and social sites are among the most visited sites in our daily lives.
The ones that bring you the video, do not go outdoors here in Ocean City right now.
When important moments happen, both big and small, we're the first informers to history. We are the local broadcasters of radio and television, reaching more people, touching more lives.
Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and locally owned and operated KTXR, KWTO AM and FM, and KBFL AM and FM.
Hi, folks. Tim Keithley for Morning Line. Monday morning, we'll recap the Missouri legislative session with Senator Jay Wasson. Plus, Webster County Sheriff Roy Cole will join us. City Council meets on Monday night to discuss putting pot and Walmart on the ballot, plus the weekend's news, weather, and traffic. Morning Line, 7 to 10 weekdays on AM 560 KWTO.
Not sure which wines go with which foods? Listen to Through the Grapevine, Saturdays 11 to noon on KWTO AM 560. And join the show live from the Hilton Garden Inn. That's where your hosts Jim James and Diana Loftus-Wheeler will interview winemakers and wine industry specialists. Plus, you'll have a chance to sample some of the wines being discussed. That's all on Through the Grapevine, live from the Hilton Garden Inn. Every Saturday from 11 to noon on AM 560 KWTO.
Warmer for today with clouds and a few sunny breaks, the high of 80. There can be a spotty shower or thunderstorm off to the east. Cloudy and mild tonight, low of 64. More showers or thunderstorms around. Otherwise, clouds break for some sun. Warm and humid for tomorrow, high of 88. We do see a mix of clouds and sun on Sunday. The high near the record of 91, set back in 1987. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And you are listening to Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary. Brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And once again, Mary Pearson and Mark Withers, your hosts for the second half of the show.
You know how to get rid of a mouse?
How?
Get a big cat.
Well, now that's not necessarily true. They have to want they some cats
Maybe
are
you want a
mousers
skinny
and
cat.
some there you go. You want a hungry
Well,
cat.
that's what you want. You want a thin, skinny,
You want a hungry cat. There you go.
That's true.
My mom and dad have a big cat, and I don't think they'd catch a mouse if you put it in front of her.
My cat would just lay there and just watch it.
She gets fed out of one of those crystal bowls and that gourmet cat food. She ain't gonna chase no mouse.
Oh no, you can't. that won't work.
I think you need a hungry cat.
That's right. That's right. You do. So, hey, Mary, we had a caller call. I think it was last week.
I think
or
so.
the week before, and ask about a thermostat called the Nest.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a little bit of research on that. And what the Nest is, it's a new thermostat that's come out that actually learns what you do in your house. As far as when you install it, you set it. And, as you go through your first week or so with it, it picks up on all your habits in that house.
That's a little scary.
So, in other words, you get up in the morning, you're used to turning the thermostat up to whatever, and at night you go to bed, you turn it to this, or at certain times, and it learns all those.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you forget to set your thermostat, well, it automatically does it for you. It learns your routine. And also, of course, like everything else now, it has an app. You can get on your iPhone.
Yeah.
And if you think, oh, my gosh, I forgot to, we're coming home early or whatever, and I want the house cooled down, you get on your app, and you actually change your thermostat with your app. And you can actually program it, too, but it will learn your routine. And after they said after about 2 weeks, it knows your schedule. That's kind of scary, but.
And then what happens when you change your routine?
When you change your routine, when it knows, they say if you just change it like 1 or 2 times, it don't confuse it. But if you, after, a few times, it'll learn that, like the seasons change, it starts getting cold outside, and it senses when you change that, and, your temperature change and everything. And, yeah,
interesting.
It learns all that and it stores all that, so you really don't ever have to touch your thermostat, Except, once you get it set, say for the summertime, you may not have to touch it again all summer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's what the Nest does. And I'm sure it does a lot of other things, but that's just kind of a touch, base on the main reason for it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I left and totally forgot to ask my son if he'd heard about that because I hadn't. But that sounds pretty interesting.
Yes, it is.
But it's almost, and maybe I'm just old school, but it's almost like we want everything to be self-operating or something. Then we just don't have to do anything. I'm that's kind of weird about that. It's like, you know what? I don't need my thermostat knowing everything I'm doing in the house. But, maybe for some people that's really a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are much more techie than I am.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
I still write checks to pay my bills, so if that tells you anything.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, I had a text.
Okay.
Yeah, and this has to be from one of my musician friends.
Okay.
Well, I know it is, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he wanted to know if you spray that waterproofing stuff on his mandolin, will he be able to play in the rain? Okay.
He can play in the rain anyway. I don't care.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I'll have to talk to him about that.
Well, that's how new ideas are invented.
That's true.
So it might work. I don't know. Depends on what his mandolin's made out of.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Good point.
they're made out of wood, aren't
It's
they?
made out of wood.
It's made out of wood.
Yeah.
It's a
There
wood
you go.
product. So
I can treat it.
Well,
There you
yeah,
go.
Yeah, so I'll just bring it around. Have
wonder
Brett
if that would
treat it.
change the tone.
I'd say it probably would.
I would think it would have to.
I would think so.
I want to see it hung up and you power wash it though. That's you can do his, not mine.
Wow.
You can do his.
We'll practice on his first.
We'll practice on his.
We'll make a YouTube video out of that.
Oh yeah, no doubt that'd be good. So, well, we do have Brett McGowan here in the studio with us today, and we're talking about. It's still Woodbright to me. I'm sorry, I go back that far. I have trouble calling anything different, but Woodbright, Wood Renew, and now Renew Crew.
That's right.
And I think that's so cool because I didn't know what was going on because I drive by your house, every day because you live down the street from me, and I see this. I'm like, okay, what's happening here? And I even mentioned it to Mary.
Yeah,
and she's
you
like,
did.
well, we need to have him on and find out what's happening. And so, but I think it's really cool that y'all are branching out. You're doing different things. I know there's like you say, when you guys are there with the power wash and somebody says, well, can you do my siding or my concrete or whatever? It's great to be able to say, yes, we can do this because we know now how to properly do it. We've learned the process. We know what to do, what not to do. And so there's all kinds of different things that you can do around a house just besides decks and fences.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, there's a right way and a wrong way to do siding and concrete and brick. And I just caution you to, before you try to go do that yourself or hire the guy with a pickup truck that stops and knocks on your door, make sure they know what they're talking about.
Sure.
Because that's a big investment to have to undo if somebody messes it up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you have a brick home and you're doing the brick. And that's something that a lot of people think if they have a brick home that it's no maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
No, you still need to clean it periodically.
Right? I've always
brick?
heard that. Yeah. I've always heard that about, vinyl siding, it's, maintenance free, you never have to do anything to it. All brick home, it's maintenance free, You actually should seal that brick.
I agree.
Clean it and seal it.
Clean it and seal it. And
I don't know of anything that's totally maintenance free. You can get things that are lower maintenance, but I think everything has some kind of maintenance to it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Whether it's either just once a year, whatever. I mean, there's you have to take care of things.
Sure.
And if you don't, then you will have issues at some point.
Right. And how many chimneys have we seen over the years where people didn't seal them?
Yeah.
And the bricks deteriorate, they get moisture down in the top
Sure.
of them. And, that's, we see all kinds of stuff like that. And yes, it does need some maintenance on it.
I agree, 100%. If it's outside in the weather, Mother Nature is going to work as hard as she can to beat it up.
Oh, sure.
And she usually wins.
You betcha. You betcha. Now, you've talked about concrete and that type of thing. Do you do asphalt drives as well? Can you take care of cleaning and sealing asphalt drives, or do you just do concrete?
Well, we have to leave something for when our next name changes in 10 years.
Okay.
We got to leave a few things for next time. So
Okay.
asphalt is not on our list at this moment.
Because we're talking about driveways, and I know a lot of people have asphalt driveways, so I just wanted to clarify that with
Yeah,
our listeners so
absolutely.
that they would know that, that's not something that you're doing at this time. So.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Leave that to the asphalt sealing guys. Whew, that's a hot, nasty job.
That is a hot job.
Yep.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah, yeah, it's for sure. One thing that I've had people, especially when I was working for the lumber company and selling the products, I'd have people come in and they always want to know what the best thing is to put on their deck or a privacy fence, and I'd always recommend the Woolman products because I've used them, I liked them, and they've always done what they said. There's a few products that you want to stay away from that don't actually penetrate into the wood. They just sit on top. That's the kind of stuff you want to stay away from.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that in broad strokes here, but basically treating exterior wood falls into two families. You're either using a penetrating product like you're talking about, or you can use the film forming types of products. There certainly are advantages to the film forming. You will get a longer life out of those. The downside to them is that they tend to be a lot more pigmented. They're meaning, you can call it what you want, but it's paint.
Yeah.
And so you lose the natural look of the wood is one of the downfalls to it, but you do get a longer life out of it. The worst part about them that I don't like about film forming products is that they act like paint, meaning when they fail, and like we were just talking about, everything outside at some point in time fails and has to get renewed. When those film forming products fail, they have a tendency to chip and flake and peel. And when that happens, your options are very, very limited because you can't put another coat of something over the top of it because it just keeps peeling out from underneath it. So you're left with having to use chemical strippers to get it off of there, or spend a month of Sundays with sandpaper trying to get all that off your deck or your fence. So that's the reason why I don't like the film forming products, is that down the road maintenance, when it does fail, you're really left with a mess. The penetrating products, they're going to fail too. Everything does. But when our products fail, you just rewash and you reapply. It's a much simpler ongoing maintenance, and it's easier, it's faster, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just the better way to go in our opinion.
Well, now with the film forming products, you're more apt to have wear patterns also, right? I mean, like, say if it's a certain area where you walk across that deck to go in and out of the house, and there's a lot of pigment, a lot of color to that, wouldn't you have more of a maybe a change in color right there where it wears all the time?
You're exactly right, but you're going to have a wear pattern there no matter what.
No matter what.
Even on a gray untreated deck where somebody has a dog that follows the same deck, I can show you right where the dog walks. There's still a discolored place there, even on an untreated deck.
Right.
So, but that's going to be an issue no matter what. You're going to have to get booties for your dog, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
No booties for your dog? Slippers? Something?
No.
There you go.
No.
So.
No, just broom it off, sweep it, something.
Yeah, yep, exactly. But you see people that, and this is something I've always discouraged is just using natural paint on a deck or fence. I personally don't like that. I personally wouldn't do that because once you paint that, you're pretty much just going to have to paint it. Because you're never going to get it all off there.
No, if you're using actual paint, usually people that ask me to try to undo that, I usually end up having to walk away because the cost of trying to strip it usually outweighs the cost of replacing it. I mean, it would take so labor intensive, so much chemical that you'd have to use to try to get that off that you're better off just tear it down and build it over, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I have a question for you. A couple questions. One, if someone has a deck with, is it Trex?
Oh, sure. The composite. Trex is a brand name, but yeah.
The composite. Does that need to be cleaned as well? They say that that's supposed to be maintenance free, but I have a friend who did that at the lake, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's not maintenance free where they're at.
No.
Because it does collect dirt and stuff on it as well. So do you clean those as well? Now, I don't think you don't have to restain those or do anything like that, do you? Or do you just clean them, or what do you do if you have that type of decking?
Sure. You're right. Composite decking is supposed to be low maintenance, and I think that's probably accurate. What you have to do to maintain it is it does have to get cleaned periodically. I mean, it's still outside. It's still going to get pollen or the black stuff from walnut trees and all that stuff is still going to stain that. So you do need to clean it. That's my biggest problem with the composite decking is when it gets a stain on it, like a grease stain from your grill or that I don't even know what it is, the stuff that comes out of the walnut trees that turns them black, whatever that sap is or out of the leaves. It'll permanently stain that, and you can't get that out of the composite.
Really?
Composite's basically, it'll vary from brand to brand, but it's basically a mixture of sawdust and plastic.
Right.
And some of the earlier versions of it, and maybe your neighbor has the earlier version of it, actually mold and mildew from within. and you could never get that out of there.
Right.
So, yeah, we have a cleaner that we can use for composite. That being said, some stains are stains, and they won't come out of the composite. And then that's when we can talk about, putting a stain on the composite to help hide those.
see.
A protectant, if you will, a colorant, maybe is the right word to use, a
Right.
colorant on there to help hide those stains that you can't get out of a composite.
I see. And then we're talking a lot about wood fencing, but you see a lot of this plastic fencing or different types of material, not just wood,
Vinyl.
and that type of thing.
Sure.
Do you come in and you can clean those for folks as well? I thought that was really cool when they came out with those white fences. I thought, man, that looks so good. Oh my goodness. If you don't take care of those, after a while, they don't look good. I've seen them with green on them and black, just terrible
All
looking.
over them. Yeah, absolutely.
And we had just a little bit of that on our front deck when we bought our lake house. I was so excited when we got rid of that stuff because I had to clean it constantly at the lake.
I believe
It would mold and stuff, and it was just horrible. I just hated that stuff. So I would think that was something that, to me, I thought that would be low maintenance or no maintenance. But for where I was at, it was high maintenance at the lake. It was constant cleaning that thing.
Yeah, mold and mildew, they like to grow on anything where it's, shady and cool, like the north side of your house, or obviously like you're talking about on your fence. I'm assuming that was probably on the north side, or at least a shaded area of the yard.
It was.
And it needs a food source. That's what mold and mildew need to grow, the cool and shady and a food source. And by having us come out and clean your fence or your siding, one of the things that we do as a final step is to not only do we kill what's there and remove it and wash away everything, but we apply a sealer to that fence or to that siding. And what the sealer does is it just makes that siding a little slicker. And so that when the pollen and all the stuff blowing around does get on your house, the next rainstorm washes that away. And if you take away the food source, then the mold and mildew and the algae can't start growing again. So the sealer part of that process really does help with having to do that less often.
So how long does the sealer product usually last? Do you have to redo that annually or every 3 years or 5 years? I don't know how long that would last.
On average, you're probably going to have to, if we're talking about vinyl siding,
Yeah.
for example, then you're probably looking at having to do that every couple of years or so. And that varies a lot based on, just like we were talking about with your
The
house.
condition.
Are you in a valley or on a hill? Is it
You have
shaded
lots of
with
trees
or no trees? Or you're near the
Right.
lake where the humidity's higher? You're somewhere a little breezier and the humidity's lower there. So that's
Okay.
going to vary house to house. But
Okay.
a couple of years is probably a good rule of thumb.
Okay. I think it would be worth it not
Oh,
to
yeah.
have to, because I don't have a real big issue right now with the siding. I will at some point. I know that, you've got to clean it and maintain it and stuff, but to be able to seal that, I didn't know you could do that with siding. So to me, that's a really cool idea. And then because I know that when we lived in Nixa, Paul had to do that twice a year because we had so many trees and so much shade and all that twice a year he would have to power wash the house and the shed and all that because and particularly on the north side of the shed, it would just be terrible if he didn't keep that maintained and cleaned off all the time.
Looks like a little kid's art project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't look that good.
Didn't look that good?
It looked pretty bad. So I didn't know that you had a sealer product that you could put over vinyl siding and stuff. And I think that's a cool idea. Real cool idea.
Yeah. Talking about kids' art project. This is totally off the subject, but this just popped into my pea brain, little mind.
Live radio. Yeah, go ahead.
I was watching the news and they was showing the art collection that Andy Williams had, and they sold all these paintings.
yeah?
And they sold one for I forget how many $1 million it was. And I swear I could be an artist and make millions because that was the ugliest.
I agree with
picture,
you.
And it didn't have no.
Apparently, there's a part of my brain that doesn't get that.
Mine neither.
Because I don't get it. And I've thought several times that, my grandchildren like to draw me pictures and stuff and all that. And there's a few of them I've looked at and I thought, have them put this on a piece of canvas and frame it. It'll be worth, $500,000 because it looks like some of this stuff, especially the splatter paint looking stuff. My 5-year-old, she had a art show this year we went to, and they actually did as a class a piece of canvas that they all got to take turns and just sling paint all over it. And it looked just a whole lot like some of those real expensive ones I've seen.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I could hang that up and people think I would have an expensive piece of art.
Yeah.
So yeah, so apparently
So-
I'm not getting something because
me too.
Some of that makes
So-
no sense to me
So,
either.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get us all
That's
off
okay.
subject here. That just popped into my head.
You know what? If you have grandchildren, you probably have some of that artwork.
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Better keep it. It might be worth something.
You never know.
That's
You never
right.
know.
So, well, tell us once again before we run out of time how people can get a hold of you.
Oh, sure. They can reach us at 865-WOOD. That's 865-9663. Or you can reach us on the internet at World Wide Web, renewcrewclean.com.
So you guys have a website and everything that'll
That's
show
the
all
main
the-
site, and then
yeah.
you can click on locations. And if you happen to live in Branson or Springfield or West Plains or wherever you're listening from, we have an office near you.
How many franchises is there now?
That's not my side of things, but I think we're pushing 30, right? We're
Wow.
right around 30, and I
That's
think
fantastic.
14 or 15 states, I believe.
Yeah, that's great.
Now here in your Springfield, you're located at I never can pronounce the name of that street.
Well, I pronounce it Dysart, but I've never heard anybody else pronounce
Okay.
it, so I don't know if I'm saying
Dysart's
it right
how
either.
I've
Yeah.
always- yeah.
Okay, Dysart. We're gonna call it that. So, do you have a showroom or anything there that shows products or shows anything, or do you have anything set up people can look at like that, or how does that work?
Our showrooms all over 7 counties in southwest Missouri. Our work's visible and all kinds of decks and fences all over everywhere. If you'd like to see our work, I can certainly give you some addresses where you can drive by and see a deck or
perfect.
a fence. But
okay, I didn't know if you had anything set up there, or if you just because I know that when we built our daughter's house and we were looking at brick. Okay, I need to see it on a house. I can't look at a pallet and visualize it on a house. And so,
Right.
where we got the brick is they gave us addresses where we could drive by and look.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
anytime you can get a visual of what something's going to look like, that helps so much. Than trying to look at a little, like a little paint chip. Oh yeah, that works well. I can't tell you how many times we repainted because we made big boo-boos with that, But
Yeah.
So if someone wants to know what your work looks like or what you can do, then you can give them some places to drive by
Absolutely.
and look. That'd be great.
It's one of the fun parts of my job. I get to drive around town and go, oh, we did that deck, we did that fence.
There you
I
go.
can see, I can
There
see
you
what
go.
we've done all over town. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I think
I'll
I
bet
wear
it is.
my wife out with that, but I'm still excited.
Well, there you go. There you go.
What I always thought was interesting is you'd be driving down the street, you see this long line of privacy fence, and you'll see this right in the middle. There'll be this great looking section of fence, and it'll have a wood renew or a sign right there. And everybody else's property looks horrible, but here's that really nice
Yep.
section that you
And
all
I have
done.
seen that
I've
several
seen
times.
that
I
a
have
lot of
too.
times.
Yeah, I have too.
So
yep, sure enough.
that ought to be a good testament to everybody that they need to call you. You know.
Yeah, if you want your fence to look like this and not this,
That's right. We're trying to get to them one deck and fence at a time. We're
Yep.
trying. We're trying to get to everybody.
there you
Yeah.
go. There you
There
go.
you go.
So if you want your neighborhood to look good, you need to do your yard, and then you know how that works in neighborhoods.
Oh, I do.
One person does it, and they're like, "Oh man, okay, we got to do that," and then pretty soon your whole neighborhood will be
the
nice
most beautiful
and pretty.
neighborhood
Absolutely,
in Springfield.
absolutely. Do they still do that? Do they still give awards for yards or whatever in Springfield? They used to, didn't they? Best
Yeah, in
looking
some
yard or
neighborhoods
something.
they used to do that, yeah.
I haven't heard of that for a while. I don't know if they do that anymore or not, but
No.
you
His
know.
yard looks good.
Well, I'm sure.
I drive
I'm
by.
sure it
Matter of
does.
fact, I was telling you a while ago, I drive by it every day, and I complimented him on how good his yard looked, because just a couple houses up, there's a piece of property that they never mow their yard. It
Is
looks
that you?
horrible. No, that's not me.
No.
No, I'm up around the corner.
I'm just
you know.
teasing you, Mark.
No, my wife gets out there and does it all the time. So no, I'm just joking.
I do mine now.
Yeah, well,
So,
yeah,
you
that's
know.
right. No, it's but his yard does look good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of yards, I have two to mow now, and I've got it all figured out how to keep them both mowed and looking good and trimmed and all that. What I can't figure out is how to keep those dandelions from growing in 24 hours after I knock them down with a mower. That is really starting to be annoying.
Yeah.
But someone said eventually they'll stop doing that, so I hope. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to mow every day. I'm just not
Yeah.
going to do it. Sorry.
You've got things to do too.
That's right. I have a life too.
No doubt.
So what do you got going on this weekend, Mr. Mark?
Well, tomorrow I will be down at Silver Dollar City. It's their, of course, right now the Bluegrass and Barbecue is going on for the next, I think, till the 27th. But
I believe that's correct,
Yep.
yes.
But tomorrow they have the National Single Mic Championship, and myself, Gene Reasoner, and I'm not sure who all else were judges in the contest. This I think is my third year for being a judge down there. D.A. Calloway is fantastic. He takes care of all the entertainment and all the good stuff that goes on down there, and so he's had had me and Gene come down there and be a judge. So we're really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then next Friday, I won't be here because I'll be in Curryville, Missouri. We have a huge bluegrass festival going on up there, and so that'll be a lot of fun too. But Silver Dollar City this weekend.
All righty. Well, it looks like we have to sign off here in a minute. So thanks again, Brett, for being our guest. It's always great to have you on the show.
Thank you
and
so
thanks
much.
to all of our
Yeah.
listeners, and I hope everyone has a great weekend.
That's right. And this is Home Repairs and Solutions. You know, we're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on the great AM 560 KWTO.